Hey guys, what's going on? Views from the Link TV. Just Tom tonight. That would be me. Coming to you webcam style. Steve actually couldn't be here tonight because he's not feeling too good, and he actually went over to the doctors, and I made that a little more dramatic than it had to be. It's not serious. He's just taking precautionary measures, and he'll be all right. So hopefully he's back next week for the shows. However, it's just me tonight, so you know what that means. A lot of rants, a lot of raves, a lot of good things. So, okay, so Bird Buzz for the first-time viewers is a question where we ask, it's a segment on our web series where we ask our followers for questions about the Eagles, and then we'll give our honest opinion on what we feel about what they ask. So, if you guys don't follow us at Views from the Link on Instagram, that's Views from the Link. And just give us a follow and ask the questions when we prompt it. We post a picture on Wednesdays, sometimes Thursdays, and there's a bunch of fans that ask questions on there, a bunch of Eagles fans, and we're just talking Eagles. So that's kind of the point of the show, kind of the point of the whole web series, and we love this segment because of that. So let's dive into the questions here. We've got the first one from @itsmiles, and it's Carson Wentz over or under 30 touchdowns. I'm going to say under. I'm going to say under because I'm going to set reasonable expectations on Carson Wentz. I understand that there's a growth period that has to happen, and his weapons did get better, but that doesn't mean he's just going to immediately arrive as a quarterback. And I think that allowing him somewhat of a growth period, somewhat of a period to acclimate himself in the NFL a little bit more. And he's going to get better every year, I think. But I'm going to go mid-20s in touchdowns. You're going to see an improvement, absolutely 100%. But he's not going to be quite at 30 or over 30 this year, I don't think. So we'll see what happens, but that would be my prediction. And because we do encourage to ask more than one question, It's Miles asked, and do you think Fletcher Cox is a leader? And I absolutely do. I 100% think that guy's a leader. I think that you look at him as one of the best players on this team, and it's a good question because many were questioning his leadership when he missed that OTA week, but he's back with the team now, and I think that energy that he's going to bring is going to translate into positive production. It's also going to translate into him gaining respect in the locker room. I think that as he grows, remember, he's coming off 2 Pro Bowls. He's 26 years old. He's going into his prime. So I think you're going to see him mature and naturally become the leader that we all expect him to be as one of the best players on the team. I think you're going to see him transition into that as the years go on. And I think that people don't realize he's 26. He's not 29. He's not 30. You know what I mean? So he's got, plenty of time left. He's got a lot of time to be a great player here, and I think that you're going to see him just naturally become the leader that we all know he can be, and we all know that he is, and he really exemplifies, what it is to be a dominant defensive tackle in the NFL today, and that's a really, really crucial piece when getting to the quarterback is so crucial nowadays. He's going to back that up, and he's going to make plays this year, and players are definitely going to follow his lead. So the next question is from @Dave19Long. He asks, will the Eagles go for Maclin even though they made some offseason signings like Torrey Smith and Alshon Jeffrey? And I personally don't think that Maclin is a terrible player. However, I don't think the Eagles need to go away from what their plan was from the beginning of the offseason, and getting these guys bringing these guys in and getting these guys that they want to give reps to, they want to develop into their system, and they want to develop on this team. And I don't think that they're going to drop it all for Jeremy Maclin. Could he be a valuable piece to this team? Sure. Did Doug Peterson say the Eagles were not interested at the time? Yes, he did. So there's both sides of the coin. While we know he could come in here and make our receiving core look loaded and very deep with proven pass catchers, we also know that Doug Peterson stated that they're very confident in what they've done and that they're not interested. So there's both sides of the coin. Maclin is, however, he left he left Baltimore and Buffalo without a deal, so I'd assume that he's going to make the decision either tomorrow or he'll think about it over the weekend and make it next week. But I don't so much think that, I don't know, I just don't see the Eagles. I don't see the Eagles being the team that ends up with him. I think there's teams that need receivers more, and they'll pay more, and they'll promise he can play a lot more, and that's the two things that all players care about, and I think that'll happen in Baltimore or Buffalo for sure. I actually ended up hearing Chicago was another place, and they desperately need receivers. We just got their receivers, so they definitely need receivers, and that's it. I mean, it's a good question. A lot of people were wondering that, but I personally do not think Jeremy Maclin's going to be a Philadelphia Eagle. At Mark923 asks, who will be the biggest surprise on the team this year? Well, that's a good question. I think that, I'm gonna take the question that Dave asked, and I'm gonna use Torrey Smith. I think that a lot of people are wondering what Torrey Smith can be, and I think that having that vertical threat is really it's gonna surprise people how well Torrey Smith can get behind NFL defenders and make plays because of his down years, and people don't really expect much out of him. They're saying that he's not that great of a receiver and things like that, and he's not a superstar, but I think that he's definitely going to make a lot of Eagles fans think twice about questioning that signing. I really do, and I think a lot of people are really iffy on that signing, and I think that I think at the end of the day you have to just look at what our offense needs and what he can bring to the table, and I think that he's going to surprise a lot of people this year. So that's kind of an out of the box answer for that one, because there's a lot easier answers, such as maybe one of the rookies or Nelson Aguilar, who's talking about a breakout season, but I'm going to go with Torrey Smith. I really do believe in him, and I want to see him play well, and I think that he's going to play well, and I think he's going to be a big-time weapon for Carson Wentz. So, at SmithBoy93 asks, what game was your proudest moment as an Eagles fan? Oh, man, I was just talking on Twitter with a couple guys about the early 2000s, and it was just getting me so pumped up. But, yeah, I think that it has to be the NFC Championship, the 2004 NFC Championship. Man, it was heartbreak year after year, and for to see, I was spoiled because I got to see so much success. I mean, despite not winning a Super Bowl, the team was in the playoffs every year. They were winning 11, 12 games every year. Best defense, one of the best defenses, dominant team in the NFC, and they went to the NFC title game every year. And I was so spoiled to see that. But for people like my dad to see them win the NFC Championship and actually get over the hump and go to the Super Bowl, I mean, I was only witnessing heartbreak every year, losing the NFC Championship. My dad was a fan, since way back, so he's been seeing, heartbreak for a while. He saw all through the 90s, it was just a big build-up, and they weren't really that good for a while, and it was just awesome just witnessing that as 15 years old. I'm always going to remember in my dad's basement, we're watching the game, and I just remember when Chad Lewis scored that game-sealing touchdown. We just kind of both were like, we're going to the Super Bowl, and it was just crazy. So, it had to be my proudest moment as an Eagles fan is to watch them go to the Super Bowl. And unfortunately, they didn't win, but that was the biggest. That was the biggest moment that I've ever witnessed. So I hope they can get back and with Carson Wentz and they can, maybe win the Super Bowl and really, defy all odds and get that first ring as a franchise. But so far they haven't, and that's as close as I'm going to get as being, feeling like a champ so far. So it's kind of sad, but it is what it is. Next question. SmithBoy93 asks again, another double up. A lot of guys doubling down, doubling up. They're doing their thing out there. So SmithBoy93. Also, do you think we're a playoff team this year? Hey, that's a great follow-up question. I think that this team is talented, and I think that they can fight for a playoff spot in December. I don't know so much. Do they get in? Potentially. I mean, would it surprise me if they got in the playoffs? Absolutely not. I think this team is good enough to get in the playoffs. I do, however, think that next year, if you ask me this question this time next year, I mean, obviously depending on how the year goes, but if this year goes how I think it goes, then next year in 2018, the Eagles are 100% a playoff team, 100%. I'll trust me, you'll hear that a lot. And I mean, especially if they go to the playoffs this year. But I mean, even if they, do what I more so think they're going to do, which is compete in December and potentially come up short, but still really improve and show that they have what it takes, I 100%. If that's at the worst, that is what I think that they're going to do. Is they're going to compete in December, they're going to be alive in December, and it's going to come down to those last couple games. And if they can get in, or even if they come up a little short, I'm 100%. If everything develops the way I think, 2018 is the year. So we'll have a chance to compete, and then once you get in, then I think that the window will stay open because you're going to continue to add talent to this young team. This team is so young. You have to understand that there's positions that are going to get old. They're going to start to need to replace some guys here and there, but ultimately this team is very young, and the core of it is very young, and they're going to have a lot of years to be able to try to compete. So this year could be it. Next year definitely, and after that it could be a couple. So we're gonna have a couple shots at it. Let's just try to let's stay positive, baby. Justin Bradley asks, Justin, he's mocking me because I forgot to ask. This is one of our guys that's been asking questions for a while now, so I'm gonna give it to him a little. He's been mocking me about, will this actually be uploaded? And I know I've been slacking a little bit on the uploads here and there, but got to give me a little bit of credit. I'm working a full-time job here, so sorry I'm not getting to it, but I'm making money. So no, really, my bad. I haven't been uploading them. I know you like these vids. I'm going to be uploading them consistently now. And he wants to know because maybe in the last, he asked. We were talking about Nolan Carroll getting a DWI or DUI, driving under the influence, and then DWI is driving while intoxicated. So you don't want to do that. And Justin asked what that meant, and then he asked also how shook are Cowboys fans, and he's referring to me on Twitter. I go at it with Cowboys fans a lot, and I think they're really confident in their team, but they're a little bit shook. Just because, Carson's got Alshon now, and he's got Pumphrey, and he's still got Sproles and Ertz and Matt Collins now, and Torrey Smith and Jordan Matthews and Aguilar are even guys that are going to fall in line and become, maybe not elite threats or anything, but they'll make some plays here and there. And I think that the Cowboys fans are like, dang, if those guys actually work out, phew, Dak's not the only guy that's got a guy that he can chuck it up to now in Dez and Alshon. So, I think Cowboys fans are going to be feeling the burn. If they don't believe yet, they're going to see. I'm telling you, they're gonna see, and it's not going to be pretty, Justin. So, yep, Cowboys fans shook. And to end it out, a good question from Zachary Ivy. Will Brandon Graham lead the NFL in sacks this year? Now, I'm not going to say that he's going to lead the league, but I think that you'll see an improvement from the 5.5 that he had last year. I think that is going to jump up. I think that the whole D-line's improvement as a whole, plus Jim Schwartz's second year here with this system, and even though there's a couple new additions, the core of it has been here for the last year and now coming into this offseason. So I think they're grasping things a little better, and I think that I think his sack total will jump up. I don't think it's going to lead the league. Got guys like Khalil Mack in the NFL who are just, and J.J. Watt's coming back. So I think that those guys are more candidates, and I think Brandon Graham's very good, but I don't think he'll lead the league. Good question though. It would be nice to say confidently, yeah, of course Brandon Graham's going to lead the league, but it'll be fun to watch him, Derek Barnett, and all the other guys and on the ends, and Chris Long, Vinny Curry, and then guys inside, Jernigan and Cox, who was mentioned before earlier in the questions about his leadership. And I think that with him leading and all those other guys feeding off of him and that nucleus of that line, I really think that it's going to be a big year for that D-line, and Jim Schwartz's defense is going to take that next step forward into development and into seeing what they can fully do. So That's all for the questions. What can I say, man? Kevin Durant, I've been having a lot of fun watching you, and the NBA Finals is coming to an end. The NBA draft is 2 weeks away. That's my draft. That's my NBA update. Um, LeBron, have had a lot of fun watching you as well. Really in trouble. Need a couple wins now, so we'll see what happens with that. And then next is the NFL training camp. No better time to be an Eagles fan because then preseason comes and then the regular season comes. And that's it. That's all. No more to say. See you guys next week.